Let's do it. Okay, guys, welcome to my YouTube. I'm so excited to be here because this is the first video of me taking this YouTube channel to the next level. Before I get into it, I just want to give you guys a little bit of background. As you can see, I changed the name. It's no longer Lega-C. It is now High Vibers. I'm so excited to be finally embracing my best version and starting sort of self-help, raise your vibration type community. Welcome to the first video. Today, I want to talk about when somebody does you wrong and you feel like financially, and it could not just be, so like if somebody does you wrong and you feel like you need to get them back or get even, like for example, I'm going to use a story that was presented to me. If you've been watching for a while, you know a lot of the stuff I talk about on here comes from inspiration that I get from people calling me or reaching out to ask for advice or whatever. And so a friend, somebody really near and dear to me, called me and was telling me that she's finally embracing the law of attraction and nothing but positivity, and she's going all in with her company. And I'm so excited to hear this. And we spent some time together, and I wasn't going to ask her how she was going to do it because I know that the universe, our job is not to figure out the how, right? We just say the what, and the universe brings us our path as we have faith. Well, she began telling me about how she was going to get the money for this business. And she said that she was going to sue the guy that fixed her car improperly. And oh my gosh, I was like, I gotta make a video about this. Okay, and I'm truly trying to come from a place of compassion. And the reason I'm making a video about this isn't because, number one, it's because I didn't say this to her. I just got kind of quiet, and she didn't seem very receptive to other ideas. So, you kind of have to be careful not to impose your views on other people. And so I was just really quiet when she said this. And I just kind of started playing with my dogs and like, oh, I kind of wish I hadn't heard that. But I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it on here so we can kind of dive into what was happening there. Okay, so the biggest thing to remember when living your best version, vibrating high, manifesting, law of attraction, having faith, and all of that is that you get back what you put out. Another way to say it is you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And she was telling me this story of how this guy, her car was messed up. I don't remember what was wrong with it, but her car was messed up and she took it in to get it fixed. And I guess the guy didn't fix it to her expectations. And that's another big one is we got to work on letting go of our expectations because people don't really do us wrong. They just don't live up to our expectations of what they should do. So that's really sort of us doing ourselves wrong. An alternative way to handle this, and this is what I think, and there are thousands of stories on the internet of people doing things like this and how they used it to attract wealth and health into their lives. So let's say if I took my car in to get fixed and it wasn't fixed to my standards, the universe, the high vibrational way to respond to that is, thank you so much for trying. It sounds like it was such a headache. Gosh, it just sounds like it was a nightmare. I really appreciate all of the time that you put into this. And you just assume that the person went above and beyond what they could have. Because even if they didn't, they're going to probably want to after your response is like that. And even if they don't, I'm going to tell you what, you're going to be vibrating so high that you might leave from there. Like, here's a story. This was in a book I read recently, and I don't remember what book it was, but there was a lady that was at the bank, and she was like cashing a check or something, and they gave her like $20 too much. And she wanted to keep the $20, and her life coach said to take the $20 back because if you keep it, you're living in a state of lack, and you're like, ooh, you're going to kind of take advantage of somebody else's sort of mishap. And so to live in a state of gratitude and abundance, you're like, hey, that was actually their $20. I need to give that back, right? You don't need it. You're abundant. So make sure that they have what's theirs. And so she followed that advice. She took the $20 back to the bank, and the bank teller, it must have been a manager or something, they actually gave her another $20 to thank her for being so honest. And so that's just a perfect example of how the law of attraction works. And so, in the car situation, even though her car wasn't fixed and she didn't get what she was expecting for the money she spent, if she was just so grateful for the person's time and this, she might have, left and somebody might have offered to fix it for free, or maybe the guy would offer to do it again, or I don't know what could have happened, but by being angry and resentful and then wanting to sue the car shop, that's one, coming from a state of lack. It's coming from a state of resentment, and it's putting a limit onto how much she can receive with the state of abundance. So when she's going, oh, thank you. Sorry. When she's going, oh, thank you so much for all of your time and effort that you put into this car, it's limitless. She's reaching out to infinity of how much she can receive back by being in such a state of gratitude. But by suing, let's say she sues for $5,000 or $10,000, she's putting a limit on what she can get. And in being in that state of abundance, you can probably get so much more than that. And so anyway, it's just such a better way of approaching things. And this doesn't just go for a business or somebody giving you too much money. This goes with every situation you're in life. So I'm going to tell you another thing that she said. Another thing that she said was, we were talking about, because a lot of you guys know I have my own company and I'm learning about equity and how to share it and all of these things. And it's such a beautiful thing. And so I was kind of sharing a little bit of it with her, and she said, no, I'm not doing equity. And I asked her, I said, well, why do you think that's a bad thing to share equity? And she said, because the success of my business is not going to be related to somebody else effing up or screwing up. I don't want to have to worry. She goes, they end up making some bad choice and it's going to it's going to ruin my entire business. And again, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And I just had to think, where is she getting these beliefs from that people are just out to mess up in life? You guys, if you look for people to be there to screw you over, that's all you're going to find. If you look for people to help you, that's all you're going to find. And I promise I don't mean this to sound judgy or like I'm condemning her. It made me recognize things in myself. I've been following Kyle Cease lately, and I just joined his class, Evolving Out Loud. I highly recommend it, and you guys are going to hear me talk about it a lot because I'm having so many breakthroughs already. I've only been to one class, and already I busted out my microphone, I busted out my nice camera, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to put a little bit more effort into my YouTube channel because I have a lot to share. You guys, so many cool things are coming. I'm so excited about this path. And I used to think, oh, well, I can't do self-help business if I'm doing Happy Takeoff, which is my aerospace business. But since I've given up drinking, I have like 6 extra hours in the day. Since I've given up Netflix, I have 6 extra hours. So I can do Happy Takeoff for 8 hours a day. And then I can do my self-help business the remaining hours of the day. And I'm having so much fun. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, you guys. It just feels so good to be alive. Anyway, where was I? So I asked her, why do you think that's bad? And she was just so resistant to trusting other people. And let me tell you, to make your millions, you absolutely need to do it as a group. I actually am working on like this sort of mastermind group sleep meditation that I got from a chapter in Think and Grow Rich. And one of the main principles, and I haven't ever read any self-help book that doesn't kind of base you can make $100,000, you can make $250,000, you might even be able to make $1 million on your own. But when you get into the billions, you guys, you're going to need an empire. And furthermore, if you do make that $1 million by yourself, what fun is it if you don't have anybody to share it with, if all you're doing is worrying about who's going to try to take it from you? That sounds like an awful way to live, and you're probably going to lose it just as quick as you got it. So why not create this family where everybody loves each other and everybody's becoming rich and everybody's supporting each other and growing and everybody's being authentic and vulnerable, so you trust 100% because we're all telling each other our deepest, darkest secrets. So anyway, it just made me feel, it made me, okay, so back to Kyle C. So I jump around a lot, but I always bring it back. At least I try to. So one thing that Kyle talks about is, I lost my train of thought, but I'm really going to try to get through these videos without editing them. But if I have to do an edit, so be it. But I'm just being authentic. Where was I going with that Kyle thing? Kyle said, I don't know. I forgot. Maybe it'll come back. If it's meant to be, it'll come back, right? So anyway, so she was saying that she just, didn't want to put her trust in her business in other people. And it just made me, I know what it was. I knew it'd come back. So my camera just cut off. That wasn't an edit. I actually remembered what I was going to say right when the camera shut off. Okay. So if you get triggered by something that somebody else does or says, AKA I got triggered by her saying that she didn't want to share equity and whatnot. That's a place in yourself that you don't love yourself, or that's a place in yourself where you need to heal. And it's so true, because I still have places in myself that are hard to trust people or hard to feel vulnerable. And so I'm really starting to realize, instead of, coming from like a condemnation or judging place, it's like, ooh, that's something that I need to work on. And so that's why I'm doing this video. It's not to like condemn her or judge her, but it's for me to recognize in myself, what is it in me that is afraid to trust other people? Is it afraid to let people in? And gosh, and this is such a big one, is YouTubing. And that's why I'm like kind of trying to be more vulnerable on my YouTube and really talking about things that are hard for me, because I want to create a space where you guys can feel comfortable being vulnerable as well. And it is damn hard to get in front of a camera and upload it to the computer and say, I'm not hiding anything. I'm being my authentic version. You guys, and this is totally off topic, but I am getting ready to make a YouTube video, probably next week or the week after, on my past and like the biggest shame and guilt and narrative that I have kind of went through that has held me back in life. I want to tell you guys my story, and it ain't pretty, but I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to love it. It involves sex trafficking. It involves abuse. It involves a lot of love and a lot of self-hate. But I'm going to tell that whole story. I think I sort of want to just meditate on it a little bit more so that I do it in the form, like artistically, that I want to deliver it in. But it's almost there, and I'm getting really comfortable talking about it, where before I wouldn't even dare bring it up. So I kind of think that situation with my friend, where she was talking about not trusting people, made me realize I still have a hard time trusting you guys, strangers, but you're not really strangers because we're all connected. Sometimes I have a hard time trusting you to be vulnerable around you. And so it sort of shined a light in me where, Danielle, maybe it's time for you to start being more vulnerable around other people with your past. And it's interesting how you can use a trigger to grow something in yourself. And without just, using it as self-growth, I also want to offer, if you're going through something like that, where you feel like you need to condemn somebody else, or you need to sue somebody else, or get even with somebody else. It could be like a boyfriend or girlfriend that cheated on you, or that you think cheated on you. and I know this is really hard, but you can think, thank you so much for sharing so much of yourself and your life with me. I know that, oh gosh, and we'll be working on this one a lot during this YouTube channel. But it is going to be hard. It is going to be hard. I have a lot of growth to work through in the area of love and sharing. But if somebody cheated on you, you might feel, I'm going to cheat on them back to get even. But you're really just cheating on yourself. If somebody did cheat on you, number one, why are you still accepting that? You're cheating on yourself by being in that relationship. Because if you're staying with somebody, yeah, we can condemn them mentally and say, well, they cheated on me and I didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve it. But if you stay, you're almost doing it to yourself. And then why do we end up dating so many people that sort of do the same thing that our ex did? Like, we end up getting with people that, abuse us in the same way that our parents did, or manipulate us in the same way, cheat on us in the same way that our ex did. Why do we keep repeating this stuff? The reason is, and some of us want to say, well, all men are bad or all women are bad, but really it's in us, that thing that we're attracting. It's how we perceive ourselves. So if you perceive yourself as somebody that doesn't deserve true love, somebody that isn't good enough, then you're going to attract somebody that treats you that way, because you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And if you believe that you're not good enough, you're going to attract somebody that validates that for you. So the only way to attract somebody to treat you the way that the spiritual, infinite, loving being that you truly are, is to actually believe it. And the only way you can actually believe it is you got to go through the inner work to find out where those triggers are, to find out what in yourself, where are you screwing other people over? Where are you screwing yourself over? Where are you hurting yourself? Why are you hurting yourself? Let's heal that part of our inner child. Let's identify that and then learn to see that in other people. And well, another thing that Kyle says that I just love is he says, everybody is just 5-year-olds in adult bodies. And so if you think about that person that fixed her car incorrectly and now she's wanting to sue him, it's like a 5-year-old that made a mistake. Maybe they colored out of the lines. You're going to sue them for that? No, you would say, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it, And if you think about, because if you look at yourself, don't you see yourself as so tender and precious and like almost like this thing to be protected? But it's so easy for us to assume the rest of the world are these adults that are so much more advanced and more intellectual than us. But we're very protective of our own hearts, right? We're these precious things. Oh, why did you do that to me? Why did they say that about me? And we give them so much credit for being so much more mature, but they're really a 5-year-old version like we are. And their heart is just as precious as ours is. So let's treat them accordingly and say, I know that you're doing this because you genuinely want to help. I appreciate so much time that you spent on this, on my car, on my business, on whatever it is, on this relationship, whatever it is. Let's just be grateful. And I promise you, you might not get immediate gratification. You might not immediately get your car fixed, okay? But what you're going to get is you're going to feel light. You're going to be vibrating high. You're going to feel free. You're going to feel love and compassion towards that person that made the mistake. And you're going to attract people that want to help you. I promise you, you will. And that's going to be so much more infinitely better than what you would get if you sued the person. And then you're forced to, in that negative low vibration for however many weeks or months or years it takes to go through this ridiculous, petty lawsuit, you guys. Raise your vibration. That is the old way of thinking. Go past that. Forgive, love. That is the answer. It's always the answer. So I want to take the last few minutes of this video to tell you guys a little bit about this journey that I'm pursuing. So in my teens, my late teens, I used to be a stripper and a prostitute. And I got into drugs, and I was sex trafficked and abused on levels. And this is not a poor me story. This is a woohoo! I am free story. My dogs are running upstairs now. They're like, what's she yelling at? I am so excited to share this story with anybody, but especially I think there's a lot of women that have gotten lost, that have maybe just been broken and used and abused and are just not knowing how to love themselves, how to pursue their business, because you've just been used by so many men and abused. And so I'm starting it's called High Vibers, and it's going to be a community of people that just lift you up, because you are so valuable, and I believe in you, and I know your worth, and I can't wait to work with you. And it's just getting started. I literally just bought the domain yesterday. But I'm just so excited to be finally pursuing this. You guys, this has been in my heart for so many years, and I was so afraid to talk about it because, oh my God, people are going to know that I used to be a stripper. People are going to know I used to be a prostitute. Fuck it. I'm free of that, and you're going to be free too. So anyway, I think I'm going to end this video on that note. Lots more coming soon. Mwah! I love you so much. Peace.